Every year, thousands of new football kits hit the pitch. Some become icons. Some are instantly forgotten. And a few are remembered for all the wrong reasons. This is TSV Hartberg. Playing in the Austrian Bundesliga, a league notorious for sponsor-heavy kits, they've taken it a step further, applying an insane amount of sponsors to their kits since 2021, currently wearing 20 total sponsors on their 2025 kits, which has resulted in some of the lowest kit ratings we've ever seen. Their 2021 pink away shirt weighs in at 1.64 out of 5 stars with 3,400 votes, which is the single worst rated kit in history, and it's followed closely by their 2022 home and away shirts, solidifying their kit archive treble with the 3 lowest rated kits in history. Not just this season, not just in this league, ever. Their current kit design is so cluttered and so chaotic that it's become a bit of a meme, almost like an icon in the world of kit design. It's gotten so bad that the club's top-rated shirt is actually a training shirt because it's the only one that isn't overrun with sponsors. So how did they get here? Who allowed this to happen? And most importantly, can it be saved? Today, in one of the hardest design challenges we've ever attempted, we will be redesigning the world's worst football kit. To start off, the reason for these sponsors is pretty obvious. Football is not an easy business, and I really don't blame the club for having so many sponsors. At the end of the day, it's better to have a club than go bankrupt and have no club. So if they have to wear this many sponsors, so be it. Really can't knock them for doing that. But we wanted to find a way to still have a lot of sponsors on a kit, but still maintain somewhat of a cohesive design aesthetic, something that looked decent and not just completely overrun with sponsors and logos. To start, we needed some kind of design inspiration that would allow for this direction, and that began at the Church of St. Martin. Dating back to the 12th century, it is the most prominent church in Hartberg, a landmark that has anchored the town for nearly 900 years, surviving wars, empires, and generations of change. But our inspiration actually did not come from the church itself. It came from the charnel house, a structure located directly next to the church, just a few feet away. Charnel houses are a pretty common sight across Central Europe and are used to store bones from the cemetery as old skeletons are dug up in order to make room for new burials. But the charnel house outside of this church is special as it might be the best preserved charnel house in all of Austria. It is full of Romanesque architecture, with the inside of the structure adorned with Roman artwork and columns, still bright with colors nearly 1,000 years later. It's really fascinating how this structure was actually built centuries after the fall of the Roman Empire in what is today Austria, but its design is still really heavily influenced by the Romans, as you can see in its Romanesque architecture and aesthetic. The artwork inside was the perfect abstract canvas for our kit, and moving into the design itself, we began with this shirt template, a set-in-sleeve construction with a classic buttonless style collar, and we went with Bird Pro V1 fabric, my personal favorite fabric, and something that we've used for many of our pro clubs. You can see the entire template layout here in Clo 3D. We actually did make a couple minor variations to the shirt template. We added some side panels and a couple extra panels on the shoulders, but overall, it's a pretty straightforward template, more of a classic design. Moving into the graphic design process, we developed a base pattern using different segments of the charnel house wall art and combined them all into one broken type of fresco art piece, separating them with some figurative cracks along the walls, which separated the different pieces of the design. Once that was completed, we began building the concept in Clo 3D, starting with a solid blue base for the socks and shorts, adding a couple logos along the way. Then moving into the shirt, we continued coloring many of the panels solid blue, leaving the front of the shirt white before adding our Roman artwork to the kit, beginning with the cuffs, then adding it to the side panels on the shorts, and finally adding it across the entire front and back of the shirt, which is where things start to get interesting. Quick shout out to the designer of this project. This was created by Jakob. If you watch our channel, you've seen a lot of his work. This was definitely one of the harder videos to make, but overall, I think he did a great job with it. Quick disclaimer, we did not include all 15 of Hartberg's shirt sponsors in this shirt, but we did include a lot of them. So this is not really a perfect solution to the massive amount of sponsors, but it is a new and creative way to approach the issue, so I do give us props for that. We began integrating the sponsors into the fresco itself, trying to place them in like solid pockets of color so they could still be visible but still fit with the design at the same time, just placing them so they wouldn't completely destroy the aesthetic. We managed to fit 7 on the front alone, and honestly, it looks pretty good. It's at least intentional, and it They kind of fit with the design. Then we added the mandatory Bundesliga logo on the right sleeve and moved on to the back of the shirt, where we added another sponsor along with the name and number. Then we added the club crest to the shorts and the kit was complete. And for the final reveal environment, we recreated the entire charnel house, but stripped the walls of all their color and artwork and placed blank canvases surrounding our mannequin, which is meant to symbolize the mannequin absorbing all of that creative energy, all of that artwork into the kit design itself. And that's all for this kit. Overall, I think it turned out pretty nice considering the number of sponsors. And I do think it is a cool idea for manufacturers to actually work with the sponsor logos instead of just sending a blank blue shirt and then adding 15 sponsors. Honestly, probably requires way too much work to do this at scale, but hypothetically, it would be cool if companies tried to do this in real life. Anyways, if your club is looking for a new manufacturer, start a project with us. It only takes a minute and we will be sure to create the best possible kits and apparel for your club. We won't let you down. Drop a like, drop a sub. We appreciate all the support, and I'll see you in the next one. And without further ado, here are the 2025 TSV Hartberg home kits by Jersey Bird.